Welcome to the Clicks and Giggles podcast. This is your host, Jordan Rothwell Harry. We're having a little car chat. I actually just posted on stories that I ghosted my husband Brad to go to the OG, Olive Garden, have some soup, salad, and breadsticks while I reworked some offers. And I need to tell you why this matters for you. One, I think that I know that people get so in the zone when they're scaling, air quotes scaling, and growing that they're like, okay, maybe not everyone, but what I see is how do I do the least amount of work and make the most amount of money? Which I personally don't think is the best way to operate, but conversation for another day. And so then with people, when they're scaling, when they're growing their business, et cetera, they're build that I don't have to show up that much to. And I'll be honest, that can be freaking tempting. Now, I have a couple different facets to my business, and that's just not possible. That's just not how I roll, right? So I have an agency. So I have a graphic designer, operations manager, day-to-day amazing executive assistant, ads manager, just freaking humming machine. It took a freaking long time to get there. And it's worth every minute and dollar invested to get to that. So I have that. And the way agencies scale is they sell, which is pretty cool. So you can sell your agency, you can just continue to get more clients, and then you know what your margins are. Like, for example, I know for every client that comes on what percentage I spend on my team, and then the rest comes into the business. And then as long as there's not crazy investments, I'm make X% profit based on the whole 9 yards. So that's one thing. Then there's coaching, which I think coaching is like 100% profit until you invest in a coach to learn from or be mentored from. Then you invest in the marketing side of things, etc. Then there's like brick and mortar businesses where you're going to have more expenses if you have a physical location, office space, etc. And then there's group programs, one to many, and then there's one to one, which one to one is just taking more of your time up, and you can help people get such a crazy good transformation. I love my CMO offer for that reason. Anywho, all of that to say, I just reworked all of my offers to be like, what do you need? Not what has gotten into my maybe subconscious about, oh, this offer doesn't make sense. Does it help them? Okay, cool. And I felt I've been calling it like baby proofing my business for the last bit for when we start a family down the road, and that's pretty much on lock. But I'll tell you what, you don't have to be married to something in business. I'm all for commitment and sticking with your word and all that good stuff, so do that. But if something's not working right in your business, you have the permission to change it, and that is such a beautiful gift of entrepreneurship. And then if you're an entrepreneur and you notice something isn't working well in a business, speak up. Gosh, if someone on my team politely said, "Hey, there's some friction in this process. What do you think about X?" Don't tell me something's wrong and not give me ways to fix it. That isn't helpful. But gosh, I remember my old boss, he was like, okay, before you come to me with a problem, come with 3 solutions. And that has changed everything for me, where I'm like, oh, okay, it's this and this. And I would bring them to him. And now, when I have a problem in my business, I think about those things or with a client or whatnot. So that little spiel ties into this market research and why it freaking matters. I was in Miami this weekend. I was actually, if you didn't know this, born in Fort Lauderdale near Miami. My mom is Miami girly. My dad met her. They both went to the same college, Florida Southern Lakeland. And then he moved to Miami for her, proposed, got married, and moved her back to St. Pete within, I don't know, we moved when I was 2.5, so probably 5 years. And I have history in Miami. I have family there. I'm like, cool, Grant Cardone is having this event. I'll go. So went to the event, and I will tell you this. I wonder if my podcast editor will title this as market research or if she'll talk about the power of being in the room. Tara and team, just freaking send it. I don't care. I'm excited to see where this goes. But I talk a lot about the power of being in a room, and and meeting different people, and who you meet matters, and networking and all this good stuff. So my husband came to the event with me. I am in Grant Cardone's year-long program. I joined in April, and it's called the Seven Figure Business Accelerator. If you're going for seven figures, it's the place to be, and he helps get you there. And I will say what I've learned has really helped get me closer to that goal. All that to say, go to Miami, and Grant's events, he has like a freaking phenomenal sales team. They are a lot, I will say that. And I would say this if he asked for feedback or to his face, but Brad and I joke my husband Brad and I called it jokingly the gauntlet because you had his salespeople mingling with you with their clipboards, trying to upsell you into the next packages. I just had the bare bones tickets that came with my coaching package for the year. So like executive level, and they're like, you want to be in VIP, you want to do this, and I am like, I'm not sold too well in a masculine way. I like to ponder. I'm a quick decision maker though with buying things. I'm like, yep, send it, let's go. And it just was too much for me. And so it was funny because Brad and I talked about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, if you have an event, this is what I would freaking do. I would upsell people into the VIP the entire event. So the way his event went is Friday all day lunch, and we didn't get to go to that. Saturday all day VIP lunch, we didn't get to go to that. And then Sunday all day VIP lunch, we didn't get to go to that. Rather than hounding people down in hallways, my thing would be like text them freaking Friday after the first lunch, like, hey, we missed you at the VIP lunch, click here to upgrade and we'll see you at tomorrow's. I would have done that in a heartbeat. But being talked to in the hallway and being like, hey, where are you from? And when you know what's coming next, that's just not my vibe. So anywho, that was just for me. We did meet an awesome salesperson on Grant's team, Joshua, who is great. I will be going to the event Vegas with Brad in March, and we don't have tickets for the main event, but I have my mastermind will be like the day after the event. And so I was like, hey, I have mastermind tickets. I'm going to buy tickets to March, but I'm putting it out in 2025 books, like let's talk or whatever. So I loved him and liked that. But Brad and I kept calling it like the sales gauntlet, and we were laughing. But there's just so many different ways to upsell people and meet them where they are. So I also felt like it took away from being able to network, which is what I really wanted to do. And so when I go back to saying the power of being in the room, I always try to make one like amazing connection when I go places. My motto is quality over quantity. So of course I'm like saying hi to people, smiling at them, shaking hands, whatever. But there was a guy there, Steve, who was sitting behind us, who had a roofing company shirt on. And one thing about me and where I'm in my business right now is I know I can get you leads. And if you're like, what's a lead? I can get you a contact that may want to work with your business. I can grow your list. That's what a lead is. Someone for you to potentially rub elbows with and buy from you one day. So I know that. Yes. So I'm like, ooh, I really am here to info gather at this event. So if I meet one person, great contact, that's my goal. And then this event was like freaking info gather. I just said to Steve, I was like, I see you have a roofing shirt on, and I would assume you have a roofing company. And we just started talking, and he told me about his monthly budget for getting leads. And he has a franchise actually in Tampa, which is not far from where we live. And I just was like, let me get the deets. Let me get the tea here on what is worth it for him to spend for a lead. Because I know deep down what I think is worth it for a contact in my business. I've had people spend, gosh, $50,000 with me, $15,000, 5,000. Really the minimum people spend with me is generally 597. So for me, I know the lifetime value of a client. I know that connections are valuable for me. They're going to come on. They're generally going to stay, especially if they have an offer that they know sells, or they need us to do a certain package for them and send them on their way, and they come back when they're ready for ads, whatnot. So say my customer lifetime value, I'll make it easy as like 10 grand for easy numbers. I will all day long, pay $1,000 to be in a room where there's people that could be a client. So for me, obviously a lead that's $10 and buys and comes on board would be even better. But I know that I'm like, all right, 1,000. So then when I'm running ads, I have a way lower number to get on my email list and be like, let's nurture them and see what happens. So all that to say, that's my number. So when people are like, when I ask them, what would it be worth it to get a customer? How much? Oh, okay. How much would it be worth it to get a lead to hopefully turn into a customer one day? And so he told me, hey, we pay anywhere right now between $25 to $75 a lead. And if they buy, we make $15,000 on this kind of roof. And I just was like, this man knows his numbers. And that is such a freaking reminder for you to, like, as you're listening, be like, what is the lifetime value of my client or customer? And how long do I court them before they buy? What does this look like? And if they don't need me now, do they need to know who I am to build trust and learn from me for 3 months? Because they're really going to need me down the road. So, all that to say, I thought it was so cool meeting Steve, talking to Steve, finding out, hey, I generally pay $25 to $75 a lead. He actually is meeting with a different company to help him get more contacts to talk to about their roofing needs. And I have an email going out to him tomorrow. He's all up with me. I want to tell you how this meeting went and see if we could work together down the road. So that's the power of being in the room and also not getting overwhelmed with networking. I have to meet people. I'm like, I need to meet one great person. And so that was my goal, to meet one great contact, which I did with Steve. And I doubt he'll ever listen to this. But if you do, Steve, it was really nice to meet you. And then I wanted the tea. I need to know who runs Grant Cardone's ads because I want to either have us buy them one day or I want to consult on his advertising strategy. And I've still not been able. We have a weekly call on Tuesdays, so I may ask on the next call if I get to ask him and his team a question. That's really not the question I want to ask, but anywho, I digress on that one, trying to figure that out. But they went into a huge session on marketing, and Grant's a salesman, right? But if you're not known, people cannot buy your product from you. So it doesn't matter how good you are at sales. If people can't find you, they literally cannot buy from you. So I just love he's reiterating what I talked about in truth. But B, he talked about what they pay for leads in the B2B space, business to business. And they said they spend about $18 to $25 a lead, and they spend $2 million a month on advertising. And so you might be listening to me this and be like, if I had his funnel, I would too. And to that I say, let me give you another detail. He is not profitable on the front end. So what he shared was they spend about $30,000 a day on this one funnel to like watch a workshop and then sell into an offer. And he said that when Jared on his team, who's the president, was talking about it, he was like, yes, and we probably make 25,000 a day off those. So there's a discrepancy of $5,000, but then he said we bring them into the series of emails for 90 days after. And then we average out getting about $1,100 from them. So I just want you to think about that. Would you be okay getting someone on your list for X amount of money? You decide the target of what you would pay to get them on your email list, leads list, whatever you want to call it, knowing that you could build out these emails and get them over time to convert X amount of people to spend $1,100 with you, and then to spend more over time. So I feel like probably 2-3 years ago, I probably paid Grant, I could go look, $97 for something. And then now this year, I've paid him $12,000 for the year. And so you look at that customer journey, and what if he just threw in the towel after 2 or 3 months? He's, oh, this isn't working. This does not work. But no, he has that long-term vision. And so the way that correlates with your marketing efforts is you have to figure out, are you bootstrapping? Are you the one who's learning these tactics? Or are you outsourcing it so you can stay in your zone of genius? Or are you doing a little bit of both? When I was first getting started, there was this girl I would book 30-minute calls with, and I'd be like, hey, do you have time this week? I need you to look at this for 30 minutes with me. I want to look through these campaigns. Is there anything I need another set of eyes on this? So is it time in your business you need to bring another set of eyes? Is it time in your business you're like, okay, I know what I have sells. I know that this way to lead them in my business is the best way, or I know that I just need more eyeballs on myself. I need people to know who I am, and I'm going to dig in to this lead generation through ads. Or are you like, hey, I have a 6-month goal in mind. This is what I am working with. Can I partner with you or someone to do that? Like, really think about it, because your marketing, it's imperative for people to know who you are. Now, also, your offer needs to sell and your offer needs to make sense. And when I say offer, product, service, you're a copywriter, you're a business coach with a 3-month package, you are a house of color stylist who's trying to get 10 more people in a month for color and style. Do you know what you have sells? Because once you do, you just need to pour fuel on the fire. And whether it's me helping you pour the fuel, you're pouring the fuel, and bringing someone like me in to check and be like, oh my gosh, I love that. Hey, I would pour it this way. Or you're like, I'm just gonna full send and outsource this while I hustle in other ways to make this work. I just wanted to share that those stories and that experience with you, because there's this comparison trap and funnel hacking too, when people are like, oh my gosh, they're making this much, or this, their business is this big and they spend this or that, and it's, you do not know the full picture. My clients who have done the best with me are willing to do lead generation in between launches or take a loss on the initial sale to then make way more money later. Like, I have case study upon case study where, and now I have some who are tweaking their evergreen funnels to get people in, make a return on that, of course, and then sell them into bigger sales down the road. Or you have the book a call funnel, get people on a strategy call with you, and at the end, sell them into the next step. And that is just basically a game of how many sales can you convert? What's your closing rate? Just don't be fooled by people saying, my business is making this and I'm doing this and that. And you just literally, they're not sharing the full picture. If, and you can ask, hey, what do you spend on ads? Hey, what is your cost per lead? I'm so curious. I admire what you're building. Hey, do you take a loss on the front end? Hey, I see you're doing these challenges and live events. What are you willing to pay per person to get them there, knowing you will make X off them if X amount of people buy? It's a math problem. And I don't even like saying math problem. I don't like saying problem, but it's just an equation. Like, Brandon Dawson, who is a partner with Grant in one of his businesses. Business is an algorithm. Like, you're just figuring it out and rolling with it. So there's no, I don't want you to be confused if you have something that sells. If you don't have something that sells, or you just have an idea and you love it, do some research to make sure that people really want it. And I know I've talked about my course before, that my group coaching program I did before a couple years ago, that was like not a thing. And now Clicks That Count, the program, is great. They're learning marketing tactics, funnels, ads, email, lead generation, all of this good stuff. But what if I had just stopped 2 years ago and thought, that didn't work, I'm never doing that again? No. Talk to people. What do they need right now? How can you solve their problem? Alex Hormozy talks about solving rich people's problems, which I love that. I'm like, how do I solve anyone's problem? So do it from that lens. But I hope this has encouraged you to A, pick a room in the next quarter that you're going to go in. And then when you go in that room, find one good connection you're going to make. Mine was Steven. And then figure out what other ways you're going to use to do some market research. For me, luckily they shared the numbers right there. But who can you talk to and be like, hey, I've been working on this, or hey, what has felt hard in your business? What would make your business easier? And then solve that freaking problem. And then when you're ready to get more eyeballs on your business, you know who to call, right? I hope you have a great day. Okay, wait, let's cut this part. Let me end it differently. But really though, whether you call me or someone else when you need marketing help, I just hope you get your awesome business in front of more people, because if they don't know you exist, they cannot buy from you. And I'm just going to be shouting that from the rooftops from now on. So thanks for listening. I'm cheering you on as always, and I will catch you soon on the Clicks and Giggles podcast.